It's 4:30, so we will call the April the 19th, 2021 City Council meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance with an invocation by Chad Mitchell.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow with me. Dearly Father, Lord, it's thanks, beautiful day. Thank you for letting us all gather and show true leadership throughout this community, Lord. Please be with us as we make decisions that affect all individuals of this community. Continue to be with the families that have dealt with COVID throughout the year, and continue to bless us as we come through this pandemic. Continue to bless us in our community. In His name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Kim, can we have a roll call?
Yes, sir. Misty Cavanaugh. Here. Tony Space.
Here.
Adam Townsend.
Here.
Amy Cruz.
Present.
Frank Stevenson.
Here.
Chad Minzer.
Here.
Mayor, we do have a quorum.
All right. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the City Council regular meeting on April the 5th, 2021.
The regular meeting of the Madisonville City Council was held in the City Council chambers April 5th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m. It was called to order by Mayor Kevin Cotton. The Pledge of Allegiance was given, the invocation by Council Member Tony Space. Mayor and all council members besides Misty Cavanaugh were present. Approval of the minutes of March 15, 2021 and approval of the minutes of March 24, 2021 were approved. Approval of bills and payroll were approved. Second reading of the ordinance was adopted for amending the Chapter 97 of the City of Madisonville Code of Ordinance relating to garbage and refuse. Resolutions, we accepted a bid for Mar Park Maintenance Building. We approved a funding of application for oil changers, and approval of mowing for the water tanks was approved. We had a proclamation and adjournment.
Right. Any corrections to the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? So moved. Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we'll move on to approval of the bills and payroll.
The general fund was $89,133.31. Total sanitation was $31,701.56. Total electric utility of $86,376.02. Total water filter of $41,555.59. Total wastewater collection and treatment is $54,558.18. The estimated biweekly payroll of governmental is $47,402. Police $127,782. Fire $130,741. Transportation $34,358. Cemetery $6,484, park $15,222, sanitation $33,369, light fund $81,456, wastewater treatment of $17,089, wastewater collection of $32,376, water and filter of $45,203 for estimated biweekly payroll of $571,485.
Do we have a motion to approve the bills and payroll?
So moved.
Have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we'll move into the department reports. We'll start with Chief Steve Bryan.
Mayor Cotton, members of the City Council, good afternoon. The month of March 2021, the police department answered a total of 3,927 calls, which was up slightly from the same time period the year before. You can look down and see that our total and our felony arrests are up from that time period. Accidents are also up. The pandemic began in March of 2020, so people were on lockdown, so I think that's normal for us to see an uptick in accidents this year. Total citations is up, and our call response time is tracking about like it always does, 4.5 minutes or a little more. Page 2, drug seizures for the month. The total amount of illegal drugs, street value taken off the streets was $30,000 and some change. This month, marijuana seemed to be the most frequently seized drug by the police department. Page 3, bottom right-hand corner, I'd like to direct your attention to traffic accidents. The highest time for traffic accidents is Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pretty busy time of day for us. And on the last page, the crime statistics comparison. Part 1 crimes are down. All others are going to show an uptick. That's because the guys are out getting drugs off the street. Those drug crimes fall into the all others category. Part 1 crimes are things like murders, rapes, burglaries, and things like that. So the fact that they're down is definitely a good thing. If anybody's got any questions, be glad to answer those now.
Any questions for Chief Bryan? All right, thank you, sir. Great job, sir. All right, next we'll move on to the fire department report with Chief John Dunning.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. During the month of March, the fire department responded to 103 incidents. 65 of those incidents were medical, and 38 was fire. 11 of those calls were overlapping each other for a total of 11%. The properties that we responded to the fires in, they had a pre-incident value of $236,800, and we had $52,600 in fire loss. From the time we was dispatched to the time we was responding was the average for the month was 1 minute and 20 seconds. And the arrival from the time we was dispatched till we arrived on the scene was 4 minutes and 33 seconds. We spent an average of just over 17 and a half minutes on each scene for the month. We had 2,001 training hours. Training hours have been elevated so far this year because we've had a new recruit class going through. The recruit class is over now. The 7 new recruits are assigned a shift. They did really good. They excelled in their training. They excelled at NRPC that we send them to. Really proud of these new recruits, and they're gonna be good for the city. On our pre-incident plans, we had 64 of those, 28 fire prevention inspections, and 173 code enforcement cases. We had 6 community programs. We installed 1 car seat, and we issued 2 smoke alarms. On to page 2, this is a visual breakdown of our incidents broke down to get a better understanding of what each type of call was. And on page 3, we have a list of all the businesses in the community that we had contact with during the month of March. And then on page 4 is our community details that we did. We're beginning to pick those back up. We had been seeing a reduction in numbers because of COVID, but we're beginning to get back out in the community just a little bit as the numbers are dropping. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Chief Dunning? All right, thanks, sir. Great job. Next, we'll move into new business. We have a resolution to accept a bid for road salt.
Whereas the city of Madisonville participated in an online road salt auction performed by Kentucky Association of Counties and Kentucky League of Cities on Monday, April the 5th, 2021 at 10 a.m. And whereas the city of Madisonville received 3 bids, one was from Compass Minerals for $101 for 375 tons for a total of $37,875. Magic Salt total was $38,250, and Cargill de-icing was $67,500. Whereas Compass Minerals submitted the lowest bid and met all the specifications in the amount of $101 for 375 tons for a total of $37,875. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council accepts and awards the bid to Compass Mineral.
Do I have a motion to approve the bid for road salt to Compass Minerals?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have exchange of property.
Whereas the city of Madisonville owns property known as the old Madisonville Sewer Plant as shown on the plat attached as Exhibit A, and whereas the city of Madisonville proposes to convey to Dr. Michael Jones the property known as 13.567 acres as shown on the plat attached to Exhibit A, and the description attached hereto as Exhibit B, with an exception of an easement for ingress and egress. Whereas Dr. Michael Jones, which is Jones Baseball, proposes to convey to the city of Madisonville the property known as 17.303 acres as shown on the description attached as Exhibit C, and the plat that is shown on Exhibit D. The exchange of property will be an even exchange of property. Now therefore be it resolved that the city and council authorizes the mayor to execute a deed of conveyance to Dr. Michael Jones.
Do I have a motion to approve the exchange of property, allowing the mayor to execute the deeds? Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we'll move in for an item of discussion, permission to bid generator for wastewater collections east side pump station and permission to bid for pipe bursting equipment.
Destin Kittinger is not here. He is on vacation, but he has put this, asking permission to bid the new generator for the east side pump station. It is not a budgeted item, but there is funds available for this. Corey has already talked to Dustin about it. The approximate value of the generator will be around $300,000. And also he needs to bid the pipe bursting equipment, and he would like for permission to do both of those.
So do I have a motion to approve to go out for bid for the generator at the wastewater collections east side pump station? And let's do those in two separate. So the first one will be a permission to go out for bid for the generator for wastewater collections east side pump station and permission. So I have a motion for that.
So move.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any questions about that generator bid? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we'll do a permission to go out for bid for the pipe bursting equipment. Do we have a motion to go out for bid for the pipe bursting equipment? I have a motion and a second. Are you okay with a second? Any questions?
Now, haven't we before had someone come in and do this work for us that I thought we previously bid this out as it done? So are we looking to do this now completely in-house from here on out?
Yes, so what Dustin has brought to us as he's been working through to look at opportunities that we can save some funds in the budget long-term was the biggest opportunity was in the pipe bursting. This will allow him to do an 8-inch pipe bursting and a 10-inch pipe bursting, which is typical for what we've been doing in the past. So just some of the numbers to kind of give you an idea. Back in 2014, which was our largest pipe bursting, is how he's kind of given us some numbers off of that. The 8-inch was at $42 a foot and the 10-inch was at $58 a foot. He's able to buy the supplies for the 8-inch for $8.95 a foot, and on the 10-inch for $19.20 a foot. So a significant savings just in the materials themselves. On the service connections, the contractor charged $1,800 per service connection, and we would be able to do that for $400 per service connection. So just based off the 2014 project, the project total was $159,280, and that includes the material and labor. And then under the new, if we acquire the new equipment, it will give us a total project, including materials, labor, and overhead, at $87,955. And then adding in the rock and asphalt estimates, it put the total project at $92,255.65, which is a total estimated savings of $67,024.35 just on the one 2014 project. And we all know that our infrastructure is in some critical need of repairs. And
Also,
this,
it would let us not just save money, but then get more done.
yes, we could get more accomplished with having the equipment on site ourselves. So that's what he is proposing to us, and he is asking that we would allow him to go out for bid to purchase that equipment to make that happen, to do it in-house.
Be done on this year's budget? Okay,
So it would be done on this year's budget.
thank you.
The turnaround time for the bids are?
We would put it out for bid as early as this week, and then hopefully it's a 2-week process. Or are you doing that in 7 days?
The generator, I do need to get some specs from Dustin, and he's off on vacation, so until Dustin comes back.
So
But
next week.
as soon as he comes back and gives me the specs to do that, I can go ahead and put those out.
Talking May, probably.
Probably. He anticipates the pipe bursting equipment to be readily available, so to allow us to get started for the summer work that they have lined up. We would be able to do that in-house instead of having to contract that out. Any other questions? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we will move into surplus of property for the Madisonville Police Department.
Whereas the Madisonville Police Department is requesting to surplus custom armor group rifle plates, the police department requests to dispose of the surplus items per KRS 82.083. Now therefore be it resolved, the 74 custom armor group rifle plates and has the models numbers that were manufactured in August of 2016 will expire in August of 2021. The police department is authorized to dispose of the surplus, that shouldn't say, rifle plates by means of public or electronic auction.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the surplus of the property for the 74 custom armor group rifle plates, model 4S17? Have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have permission to close street.
This is a permission to close Martin Luther King Jr. Way, Branch Street to East Knoll Avenue, June the 11th through the 13th for the Rosenwald Unity Court Classic. And I did put in your packets what they are doing there. So I think they are wanting us to close that street during that time, so to allow for this, I guess it's a basketball tournament.
Chad, do you have some information on that you can expand on?
They're starting to kind of get the process of the event started, but preliminary what they're looking at is they want to close from Branch Street to East Knoll, and that's going to be the road directly behind Rosenwald Center. They're hoping to host the tournament mainly at Rosenwald Center on the basketball courts that they've redone. With that, if they close the street, then they can park food trucks and stuff in that section, and so it would make it safer. It's one block, and it would make it safer for people to travel, and it'll give them a little bit more space for food trucks and stuff like that. You know,
There are 2 houses that have been built there right across from the Carney Center Habitat. Are those completed?
I believe that they just recently, are they not completed? Okay, I know that there was one. Okay.
that's an issue. I mean, we can move that barrier down some so they can get into the houses, but it was mainly the basketball court and behind Rosenwald, and that was Caleb Nelson is the one in charge of the tournament, and then Charles Yarborough was wanting that as well.
Completed. So maybe we could just move the barrier down past the houses to give the houses access.
We obviously don't want to block them houses,
Right.
but it was more of a safety concern, and then also having a lot of extra space behind Rosenwald basketball court and Rosenwald School.
Are they just needing barriers for the Public Works Department? Is that all that they would need, nothing else?
All right, so do I have a motion to approve permission to close the street on Martin Luther King Jr. Way between Branch Street and East Knoll for the 3-on-3 tournament from June 11th to the 13th?
So move.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions? And then we would just move that barricade to where, depending on those houses. All right? No other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have a discussion about the bird scooters as transportation.
We've had a fleet manager in the city of Madisonville would like to partner with Bird Scooters to build a new business in Madisonville. As a quick overview, the Bird is a last-mile scooter sharing company dedicated to bringing affordable, environmentally friendly transportation solutions to our community partners. The scooters are dockless, and it works through a GPS network. Bird can create a no-ride zone on that quarter of North Main where the major east-west intersections operational. Mayor did make me reach out to, he had asked me to reach out. I'm sorry to the.
No, will you write that down?
He had asked me to reach out to the state transportation department concerning, those are state roads, and the state has came back and said that it's kind of up to our police chief, and this is just something that we've looked at. They did give us a little map that they can kind of talk about no ride zones, but Debbie knows a little bit more about this stuff than I do, but they are granting permission from the city to put these here. They would be they would be in a docking station somewhere, and right now we do not have skateboards on our sidewalks. Not supposed to, but how this would work.
So, as a discussion, some of the things that we've heard from some of the larger cities is they are already going away from this type of opportunity because of the damage that has been created to private property and the liability of the scooters just laying around on the sidewalks. But that's kind of an open discussion. If you all want to have some discussion about that, it is listed as discussion. So Steve Bryan will answer any questions from the police department. But yes. At full charge, I think it was 15 miles an hour. Is that correct?
Kind of the main issue that I see is more of a public safety issue, but I mean, as far as like reliability and stuff like that, I mean, I believe this company thinks they're gonna come in and make money and be profitable in the city, and so I think you look at that aspect of commerce of, they see it as they want to build it, but also understand that what's it gonna look like public-wise of, are the scooters gonna be on the street versus the sidewalk or whatever, so I kinda see it of some.
They don't take it back. That's right.
Right. That's what I said.
And where does that liability fall? You know, if I'm out there walking on the street and I trip over that, you know, where does that liability, does it fall back on the city? Or does it fall back on this bird company?
Debbie, can you elaborate a little bit on that? Have you been part of that discussion? Any other discussion?
Have they looked at any, I mean, like having a location? I mean, 'cause before you would want to say you want to do it, I mean, allow them to do it. Do they have anywhere that they're thinking of to be able to?
Explained to us that on that Zoom meeting that we sat in, Chief Ryan sat in on it, Debbie and I both sat in, and he explained to us that this fleet manager is the one that's supposed to go be picking these things up when they're when they're dropped or whatever, or yeah, they're supposed to be the one responsible. Evidently, the fleet manager is the business owner, and they are the ones that picks these things up and charges them. And we asked him if they are using our sidewalk, and he didn't really know at that time where they are going to position them.
So just for those that are watching, Debbie, they couldn't hear you, but what you're saying is typically they're supposed to be in a bike lane or on the street, not on the sidewalk. And that the liability, there would still be some liability to the city with it being on the city sidewalks. And
So I'm also too, I mean, these would not be allowed on the street though, would they? They would be allowed, they are.
The company, I think they kind of recommend they be ridden on the street. That was my take from the meeting, is that right?
That was kind of our concern. We don't have no bike lanes. You know, they would be riding it down the middle of the street like.
other discussion?
We do need to tell this guy yes or no. He keeps asking us if we're gonna allow it, so.
So the first that I'll ask is, do we have a motion to allow the bird scooters to be placed downtown Madisonville? With no motion to allow that, I'm going to say that drops to not allow. Okay, the next item of business is an adjournment,
So move.
and Adam is back, so thank you for coming back, Adam, so we could adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
And
All right.
Amy will second it. Debbie, that gives you, there was no movement from the city council to allow.